one. Yeah. And sometimes, brothers and sisters, we're so gullible that we'll let him lead us like a lamb to the slaughter. And many times we let him do it over and over again. Remember, this was not Samson's first encounter with a fatal attraction. It was only by the grace of God that he made it through before, but this time it would be fatal. I said that simply to say this: we've got to stop letting the enemy play us like suckers whenever he gets ready. We've got to stop falling for the same old thing, the same okie doke over and over again. We've got to stop giving in to the same old desires. We've got to stop cheating on God. We say we love the Lord and we're going to keep his commandments, but yet we're having an affair. Every time we go against his word and operate out of his will, we're having an affair with a fatal attraction. And that fatal attraction is all around us. We're attracted to sports. Some folk ain't in church this morning, maybe not here, but somewhere, because their sports team happens to be playing. Some folk are having an affair with gambling. Foxwoods in the house. Got quiet on me right there. Our children are having affairs with hip-hop. Y'all ain't gonna help me preach. They don't know Jesus, keep me near the cross. There, a precious fountain. They don't know Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. But they know every word to Lupe Fiasco and Jay-Z and T.I. and and Drake and J. Cole. Y'all ain't gonna help me preach up in the house right here. They can tell you all of the lyrics, but if you start singing I'm a soldier and it only got one other hook in the army of the Lord, they act like they lost. Having an affair. It seems that everybody wants to have an affair on God. It seems that everything that is bad for us is so attractive. You ever notice that good foods aren't attractive? We don't get excited about liver. Yeah. We don't get excited when they tell us we're having cauliflower. I wish I had some help in the building. We don't get excited when they tell us we're going to have asparagus or beets or fruits and vegetables. But let's talk about some fried chicken. Y'all ain't gonna help me now. Let's talk about some smothered chicken, some pork chops. Let's talk about some sweet potato pie. Let's discuss some ham hocks. Come on now. We love the artery clogging, high cholesterol, weight gaining food that keeps our pressure up, our sugar high, our energy low, and eventually leads to bad health and early death. It's much more attractive. I just lost half the house because some of y'all know y'all got it waiting for you at home when you get out of church. And the bad part about it is that there are some conditions to our fatal attraction. There are some consequences. There are some situations that will inevitably manifest themselves as a result of our fatal attraction. First of all, fatal attraction will take you further than you want it to go. Go on, touch somebody and tell them it's going to take you further than you want it to go. Now, it seems to me that in view of everything that Samson had been through in his previous relationships, he would have learned to leave well enough alone. After experiencing 2 bad relationships, you think he would have been careful in his dealings with Delilah. But when you have your nose wide open and you're attracted and allured and enticed by something, you'll do whatever it takes to get it. The text clearly shows us that Samson was willing to go all the way to be with Delilah. He was willing to do whatever it took to have her. He was so captivated by her that he gave up the secret to his strength. And many times in life, we become so attracted to something that we're willing to forfeit the very things that God himself has given us. I'm quite sure Samson's original intent was not to give Delilah his secret, but that's what happens when we get enticed and lured into stuff. We become involved in that fish on a hook syndrome. What are you talking about, Pastor Swan? Well, when a fish goes to nibble on your line, for those of you who ever went fishing, his intention is to eat your bait. But oftentimes what happens is that while he nibbles at the bait, the hook catches his mouth. And when he tries to get away, it pulls on your line, letting you know that you got a bite. Then you're able to grab the pole and reel the fish in. You see, Delilah had the right bait. Yeah, she had the right bait, y'all. Look at her with the curvaceous slopes of her body. Look at her. Jet black hair dangling down to her shoulders. Look at Delilah. Quiet in the building. Mocha brown skin, Coke bottle shape. More junk in her trunk than a little bit. Look at Delilah. And all she had to do was cast out her line. And she was able to hook Samson and take him further than he wanted to go. He tried to just hang around the outskirts, and just be with her, but she was able to hook him and reel him in and get the secret to his strength. And that's just what the enemy does. He's able to reel us in and take us further than we wanted to go. How? I'm glad you asked. I said before, the enemy is not stupid. He knows how to get our goat. He knows how to hit us right in that very area that we claim to be strong in. And if you're a strong family man who loves his wife and children, he knows how to send Gomer your way. If you're diligent in the area of finances, he knows how to mess with your spending habits. Sisters, the minute you decide you're going to commit yourself to the Lord and wait for him to give you a mate, that fine brother is going to walk into your life trying to wine and dine you. Am I in the right house? That's what Delilah did. She didn't hold any punches with Samson. She got right to the point. Look at verse 6. Brothers and sisters, when the temptation gets us within its reach, it doesn't waste any time getting a hold of us. His job is to kill and to steal and destroy. And in fact, he'll do it by any means necessary. The old mothers used to have an old saying. They would always tell us, be careful when you play with fire, because you just might get burned. Yeah, they told us if you play with a dog too long, he just might lick you in the mouth. Yeah, they told us be careful when you start playing with the enemy, for when you start hanging with the enemy, when you start dancing with the devil in the moonlight, you may not plan to go all the way, but if you're not careful, the fatal attraction will take you further than you wanted to go. Joe May put it like this: don't let the devil ride. If you let him ride, he'll want to drive. Don't let him ride. If we keep on reading, we'll discover that Samson lied about the source of his strength 3 times. In verse 7, verse 11, and verse 13, he tried to deceive a deceiver. See, you can't play a player. Come on, you can't trick a trickster. Yeah. He could not deceive a deceiver. He tried to beat Delilah at her own game. And likewise, we go too far when we try to beat temptation at its own game. How many of us have been guilty of seeing somebody else fall from something but think that we are Teflon, and the same thing that meant someone else's destruction, it won't get us? Just because he got hooked on drugs don't mean I'm going to get hooked. I'm stronger than he is. Just because she became a drunk don't mean I'm going to become one. I'm stronger than she is. Unfortunately, what Samson failed to realize is that every time he lied to her, he was in actuality leading her closer to the truth of his strength. You see, when we play a game of mental Russian roulette, we're really